Hey guys, Nike here. I wanted to do a quick video for the DPS rotation for the Pure Axe Berserker banner build. This build has been gaining in popularity quite a bit, and I felt that it was kind of necessary since my previous guide kind of ignored this build in favor of the Greatsword version to do this, and it's because this is the build that people will expect you to run in pugs. The reason I focused on the Greatsword build previously is because there were certain tricks with the Pure Axe version that we as a community weren't aware of at the time. Specifically, the offset axe swapping to give you adrenaline. People weren't doing that at the time. So what we didn't realize was that you can get a lot more decapitates in per berserk if you set your axes up like this so that you can swap and gain adrenaline to get extra berserks in. But anyway, now that we know that, it's made the rotation for the axe version of the build way better, and it makes running that really not debatable as to what the best way to run warrior is. So with that said, rather than do a whole new build guide where very little has changed, what I felt like I should do is just do a quick or relatively quick rotation guide so that you guys can all be on the same page. And yeah, we will get into that shortly. So before we actually get into the rotation itself, I want to talk sort of about the philosophy of what you're trying to accomplish with the rotation. Specifically, the way the rotation works is you will want to use your decapitate skill as many times as you possibly can per berserk. In a perfectly ideal optimal situation, you can get in 14 decapitates per berserk. Depending on your ping and depending on your alacrity and quickness uptime, which could be in an actual situation, we all know that alacrity might only be 90% uptime and quickness might only be 95%, and those things will affect. There's a very good chance that you'll only be able to get 13 decapitates off, and in an especially sloppy situation, maybe only 12. Either way, the point isn't necessarily how many that you can get, it's trying to get as many as you can. If the situation you're in, the most you can get is 12, by all means, get 12. If the situation you're in allows you to get all 14, great, that's what you should aim for, because that is just simply the highest DPS option. And the way we go about doing that is knowing that it takes 3 hits, 3 critical hits, to get enough adrenaline for decapitate. And there's several ways that you can go about doing that. And learning the rotation comes down in a large part to knowing the different combinations to get 3 hits. For example, you can use Axe 2 and Axe 3 together to make 3 hits. You can use Axe 3 and Axe 4 together to make 3 hits. You can use the first auto attack of your auto chain plus Axe 2 to make 3 hits, and you can use the first auto of your auto chain and Axe 4 to make 3 hits. Additionally, you can use Axe 3 and a weapon swap to make 3 hits, or you can take 1 auto attack and a weapon swap to make 3 hits. The point being, there will come a time in the rotation, especially if you are in a situation where you have imperfect buffs, or the burn phase is going on a long time, where it's just impossible to necessarily memorize where you are in the rotation and what you should be doing, because the rotation doesn't loop perfectly. So what you'll want to do is be able to know by heart what combinations you have available, and be able to use those combinations to hit 3 adrenaline without getting, say, 4 hits. Like, you never want to be in a situation where you go Axe 2, Axe 4, decapitate, because that's 4 hits, and you essentially wasted a hit of adrenaline. What you should have done in the situation is go Axe 2, auto attack, decapitate. Axe 4, auto attack, decapitate. I know that seems sort of complicated, maybe overcomplicated, but the point is you need to be able to, with this rotation, improvise sort of on the fly and always know what the most optimal way to get your next 3 hits of adrenaline in is. And the way you would do that is by simply practicing and learning all the different combinations that you can get. It sounds complicated, and in a sense, it is complicated. It's a simple concept, but it's very fast-paced and relatively difficult to master. I sort of enjoy the build as a result of that, and I think it's very intuitive. And the more you practice, the better you get at it. So you will definitely enjoy the fact that it seems relatively simple since you're just using the same 5 skills, but you're really doing I guess you would say, a really fast-paced algebra problem at any time, because you have to manage your cooldowns and know sort of one step ahead of where you are, what your next 3 hits of adrenaline are going to be. So there's a lot to be said for it. It takes a lot of practice to really master, and I think you guys will very much enjoy playing it. So with that said, now we will get into the rotation. I will do play the rotation through at normal speed, and then I will go through and do a slow-mo breakdown of what's going on. So stick around and enjoy. Alright, so you are going to, like most Berserker builds, lead the fight off with a headbutt, and since you have Brave Stride, it will not stun you. So we are going to lead off with a headbutt and go immediately into Berserk, followed by Decapitate, then our heal skill, and Decapitate again. Then after that Decapitate, we are going to use Whirling Axe. Whirling Axe gives you a little bit of time for a breather to look at your cooldowns. You'll Decapitate again, and then you're going to Axe 4 and Axe 3, followed by a Decapitate. And then you are going to Axe 2 and Axe 3, followed by a Decapitate. You'll do 1 auto attack, and then a weapon swap, and then a Decapitate. And then a chop and double chop, and a Decapitate. Then Axe 2 and an auto attack, Decapitate. Axe 3 and Axe 4 and a Decapitate. And then you're going to do another Whirling Axe. And then after this Whirling Axe, as you might guess, it's going to be a Decapitate, followed by Blood Reckoning and another Decapitate immediately. Then Axe 2 and Axe 3, followed by a Decapitate. An auto attack and a weapon swap to Decapitate again. And then Axe 4 and an auto attack to get our final and 14th Decapitate in of the rotation. And then you Axe 2 and Berserk will end, and you will complete a full auto attack chain. Then you're going to do a throw axe and Whirling Axe again. Then after the Whirling Axe, you're going to do an Axe 2 and an Axe 4, followed by another auto attack chain. Then after the auto attack chain, you will do another throw axe, or you can just go right into your Berserk rotation if it's off cooldown. So yeah, that is basically it for the rotation. It doesn't really loop, but from that point on, once you master that opening, you can pretty much master the whole rotation from there. So that's all you really need to know, and that's all you really need to practice, and you'll be good to go. All right, guys, that is it for me. I hope this guide was useful to you guys, and you see what I was going for and what I'm putting down, and I hope it works out for you. Any questions or any tips that you'd like to share, leave them in the comments below. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Thanks, and have a good one.